right back, Charlie.
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian, man. Come on.
Because you always used to act when defending. I think it's like.
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian, man. Come on.
With an introduction like that, what more can I say? People deluded, I'm back again. I know it's the international break, but we're still here to serve you the content, people. Obviously, me and BHAVS are pressed for time at the time of making this video, so it's going to be a shorter one. But I had to get special guests in the building. BHAVS, what are you saying? You good, my guy? I see you playing with your camera, making sure it's
trying to sort my focus out. That's so weird. That's never happened before.
We can see you and hear you. It's all good, man. What are you saying?
Yeah, man, all blessed, man. Can't complain, man. Still top of the league, so we're chilling.
I'll take your word for it. I don't check the league table. I don't know any of that. I'm just going to wait till May, my guy. Let's crack straight into it, man. What did you make of the Crystal Palace game? Another win, sailed off a great month, obviously going into the international break in positive spirits.
Yeah, man, it was light work. It was easy. And to be fair, I expected that because, Crystal Palace, no manager, fighting for relegation as well. But it's weird because they're fighting relegation, but they're 12th. So it doesn't quite make any sense.
Isn't it 12th to 20th?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. But I think, look, standard procedure. That being said, Crystal Palace have caused us quite a few issues at the Emirates over the past few years. So to beat them comfortably, they can hold that because they've caused me a lot of pain over the years. Don't forget 18, 19 Champions League football.
Don't remind me. How many
Trust
times
me, man, some bad times.
And all of that.
Yeah,
bro.
so seeing Zaha at the Emirates gives me PTSD. But this game was nice, light work, over in the first half. And that's the football I want to see. But I realise in a title race, that's not always going to happen. And it will be some squeaky bum time.
Facts, man. And it was nice to, not that I want to, I got time for Palace, the Ian Wright derby, but, you sacked Patrick Vieira, no managerial bounce, none of that nonsense at the Emirates. It is what it is. Unfortunately, we let ourselves down by a set piece again, another clean sheet that could have been there. It is what it is, man. What did you make of Rob Holding's performance?
Listen, it was good. But I kind of expected it because Palace have awful form. They've had, 3 games without a goal. So, the fact that we didn't keep a clean sheet is a bit annoying. But Rob Holding was calm. But I'm also not going to overdo it. I've seen a lot of Arsenal fans give him praise. He deserves it, by the way. But we've got some big games coming up. And if he is starting for Arsenal, I'm still weary after last season, especially after that Spurs game where he got sent off. So I don't know if I trust him in a title race, but I'm willing to give him the benefit of doubt. And listen, hopefully he keeps performing. But it was a good performance. And to be fair, I was surprised by his on-the-ball security. Kept the ball nice and simple. I think 5 out of 5 long balls. We'll take that. But listen, no Saliba, no problem for now.
What have you made of that? Because obviously we still don't know how long or not Saliba is out for. Hopefully it's positive news. What do you make of Rob Holding's key, part of the running? Because if I play devil's advocate, I agree with everything you said. But if I play devil's advocate, not who many people rated Eddie Nketiah, and it was all doom and gloom when Jesus got injured. We kept it moving, man. So, are we a bit unfair maybe potentially to Rob Holding? Because squad depth is now key. Do you feel he could do a job, not just against Leeds, but Liverpool? And I know that's probably triggered some memories, Rob Holding versus Liverpool.
Nah, look, listen, I hope he can do a job. That's what I'm hoping for. But, after last season, I'm only right to have some sort of doubt because, it was a Champions League race and that's not as intense as a title race. See, in the Champions League race, you can maybe have one slip up. And a title race, with the high line that Arsenal play, all it takes is one mistake and it's all over for Arsenal. So that's why I'm being careful not to overdo it. I really like him as a person. I think he's great for the dressing room. But in terms of a player, he's got deficiencies. Let's not deny that. And even in this game, there was a few occasions where they tried to get him behind him and they got behind him. So, just got to be careful, man, not to overdo it. But listen, I think just support him as much as you can and hope he can do what he can do.
As you said, I think good or bad game. I think everyone that plays for our shirt, they warrant our support and things like that. I think you touched on it, and it's evident, isn't it? No disrespect to Rob Holding, wears his heart on his sleeves, had some good moments and better moments for our club, had some moments where he's let himself down. Obviously, he's beyond ability. He's not Gabriel or Saliba, or even if Benjamin White and Tomiyasu went over there. We play a high line, as you said. It leaves him exposed. You need to be able to deal with balls in behind or balls into wide areas. So that's a deficiency of his. I think he kind of tries to make make up for that by being a bit aggressive, trying to snap the heels, a bit like what Koscielny does. 9 times out of 10 he gets caught. You kind of saw that for his sending off in the game you're referring to, Spurs last year. So it is what it is. What do you make of Tomiyasu's injury now and Tomiyasu's injuries all season? Is he someone that we can continue to rely on? Is he someone that you feel should be moved on or replaced? Any of that stuff?
No, I think you keep Tomiyasu because of how versatile he is. And when he's fit and available, he's a very useful player to have. You know, left back, right back, centre back as well. I think that's where his future actually lies. I think, you know, in this Arsenal team that's becoming more and more attacking, I think as a centre back, he might be the better suit for him. Because, you know, Arsenal in the final third, I think Tomiyasu at times gets a bit exposed. I don't think he's bad in the final third, but I think he gets a bit stiff.
Very limited.
And that's where.
Nice way to him.
Exactly, and that's why I think Arsenal have been targeting a right back, because they realise he's not that natural profile, and it's good to have, you know, we've got Ben White, so Ben White and Tomiyasu have that similar centre back, right back profile. Let's get a more natural profile right back on that side that can get forwards and overlap and, you know, cause some other issues. But yeah, in terms of the injury, I think it is a blow, because I think he would have started a few games. You know, some of the big games, you think, for example, Anfield away, maybe Arteta might not trust Ben White defensively compared to Tomiyasu. You've seen it in the past, him start Tomiyasu in a game like that. But I can't really say this injury is because he's injury prone. This was a difficult injury to deal with. He slips, it happens, it's football. But, you know, in terms of muscular problems, they have been an issue for him. But, you know, so recently he'd been fit and available. So I have to give him the benefit of doubt and wish him a speedy recovery, because I still think he can be a very important player going for the future, but not this season.
I'm like you, man. I feel I keep faith to Tomiyasu. Obviously, football is about what you're doing, not what you've done in the past. But I do think some fans, not all, and I'm not talking about constructive criticism, but it's like they've kind of washed their hands with Tomiyasu, potentially even Smith Rowe as well. They were two, maybe even Tierney for different reasons, but they were two of the first names on the team sheet. I agree with what you said. I think Tomiyasu, naturally, the next step is probably to be a centre half. You're better in the air than holding. You're better defensively. Obviously, playing centre half at Arsenal, you need to be good on the ball. But I think that can hide his deficiencies. I think there's a correlation or a direct contrast, respectfully, to Tomiyasu, who 9 times out of 10 partnered Saka at right back last season. When Benjamin's there, credit to Benjamin White, and it's not a disrespect, Saka looks a lot more alive. There's more varieties in the runs. There's more space for him. Typically with Saka, with Tomiyasu, he has to drop to the halfway line, because Tomiyasu, I don't want to quite say he's an old school right back, but he's a bit of an old school right back. As you said, I believe in his strengths, and I think there's games that call for that. Do you think we need another centre back? And I say that away from Kirill, who's obviously left sided, and obviously Saliba's doing well, and we just touched on Tomiyasu being the centre half. Do you feel we need another another centre back? Because I think so, because I weren't really on it, but with Saliba's injury and Benjamin White at right back, I'm thinking maybe someone that's an upgrade on that Rob Holding sort of role. Someone that can just come in and do a bit better than Rob Holding, if I'm honest.
No, I do hear it, and I say it in the sense of, yeah, a Saliba backup would be nice, but if we are going to sign a right back, which is all the reports are saying, you know, a right back's a target for Arsenal, for Schneider, and you've got Dumfries as well, for example, then I think Tomiyasu will be a centre-back. Yeah, I don't think we'll need to sign a Saliba backup, because Tomiyasu can play there. He's a right-footed centre-back that can play on the left-hand side as well, and, you know, then you've got that Tomiyasu-Saliba partnering, you've got Kivio and Gabriel, and then right-back of Ben White and whoever we sign. So I think, you know, for the team dynamics, I don't think we need a centre-back, and I think Tomiyasu, because he can play across all positions, you can keep him happy as well. You know, some games you can play left back, right back, centre back. You don't have to have one centre back just that can play a centre back behind Gabriel. One thing that Mikel Arteta has done is he signed very versatile players. Even in terms of Kivio, he can play in defensive midfield, left back, left centre back. So I don't think we need to sign a centre back on the right hand side, because you've got Tomiyasu.
I agree. I just feel like there's a spot for it to be done. I agree with what you said. I think for me, my priorities would be central midfield, getting a bit of options there, keeping one eye at left back, depending on what Kieran Tierney does or doesn't do in relation to leaving. I think every Arsenal fan would agree we probably need a right back. Maybe if you know, Fresnadar seems to take up central midfield positions off the ball. So I look at Zinchenko, I look at him. Maybe that's a natural progression. Maybe with Fresnadar doing that on the right hand side, if Zinchenko doesn't play, that's a new lease of life for Kieran Tierney. I want to ask you a bit of a bit of a double question, an easy question and a bit harder one in a positive way. Who would be your player of the month, and who would be your underrated star of the month? I asked that because obviously everyone's getting their fair bit of praise within the Arsenal team, rightly so.
Player of the month, I'd say Martinelli. The goals he's been scoring has been fantastic. I know Saka and Trossard are up for player of the month itself, but I think Trossard has to go down as the underrated one. Of course he does. No goals, I think, but, you know, the amount of assists he's been getting, I think 6 assists in 4 games. Yeah, what a signing he's been. And I think what he's done, and I say this in the most respectful way to Nketiah, because I really think he's a good player, but Trossard's elevated the attack. He's made the attack more like the first half of the season, where you've got Jesus, Martinelli, and Saka. The
That
unpredictability, the
relationship is
rotations.
lovely, man.
Exactly. And I think that's what this Arsenal team's about. You know, Man City can have Haaland. They have that goal scoring outlet, but Arsenal have different threats. That's why we're the only team to have, I think we've got 4 of the top 10 goal providers. And that's because we have
Amazing.
all these different options.
Starboys
And
in double figures and that as well. Crazy.
Exactly. And so with that, I think, you know, Trossard's elevated. He's got the best out of the wide forwards. And that's what our strength is, right? Is the Saka and Martinelli's. We get the ball out to them wide more often now. And that rotation on the left-hand side, I don't know where Trossard starts. Because left wing, sometimes then it's false 9, then it's number 10, then it's playing all across.
It's a change in fluid movements from Mikel Arteta. Mikel Arteta ball is amazing. It really is.
It is beautiful to watch. And I think rivals don't like to watch it, but we do. And more importantly, I think what it is Martinelli's now got a combination player. You look at the right-hand side, you had Odegaard and Saka, and now you've got Trossard and Martinelli. So that combination there is why teams just can't cope with us. And I think we've scored 19 goals in the last 6 league games. That's crazy.
Bro, like you said, it's crazy. You know, I mean, even the most positive of Arsenal fan, if they looked in August, they couldn't have predicted this. In terms of underrated stuff, for this conversation, it's not, you know, I'd probably have to lean towards Benjamin White, Gabriel, or Partey. And as I said, I think everyone's getting their praise. But why I go to them is because, like you said, we're scoring goals, we're playing amazing, we're doing all these things. You know, we can defend better, but naturally, I know Benjamin White's playing right back and he scored and assisted recently, but our defenders aren't really going to get the praise or make the headlines when Saka, Martinelli, Trossard's impact, etc. I think Gabriel has looked amazing. I think he's been good all season, but I think he's really, really stepped up. I don't know if that's because Kyrgios come in, whether he thinks he could take his place or not, left-sided centre-back. Benjamin's going from strength to strength, and I feel Partey's hit a real since the Everton. He's been good all season, but since that Everton game where he came on at halftime to so on and so forth, I think he's been amazing. Bournemouth, yeah, he lost his man for the set piece, but he's also played a central role in passing it to Nelson, I think, for Benjamin to score. So I would lean towards more the defensive options, really. I wanted to ask you, do you think we're unfairly treated by referees?
I think everyone's unfairly treated by referees. I think referees are really bad. Really bad. I think, you know, when teams think they've got an agenda against them,
most as well.
Yeah, when you think about teams that have agendas and you look at the other teams, they've also get decisions against them. I mean, some of the handballs not given this season, the fouls not given, the penalties not given, but the penalties that are given, there's no consistency. And I think that's why fans all believe, I think every fan in the country believes their team has an agenda, or the referees have an agenda against them. So, listen, I think Arsenal have been treated at times unfairly. And listen, if it wasn't for that dodgy VAR line, we could have had 30 points out of 30 in all London derbies and been 11 points clear right now. So it's annoying. It is annoying.
Helped us, you're right.
Yeah, it could have helped us, and it might help us. You know, it might have been decisive towards the end of the season. But that's life, man. Referees are awful in England. We have to accept that, and I really do. I do think, you know, it's time to go and bring some better referees in terms of outside of England. You know, you look, we've got the best managers, European managers, the best European players. Why can't we go out there and sign the best European referees? Because as we saw at the World Cup, not every referee is perfect, but these referees are of a higher standard than the Premier League. And that's why, you know, during the World Cup, less talk about the referees, more talk about the football. And that's how it should be. But in this country, I think every referee wants to be the main character, and that's the annoying thing.
Like you said, that's the best comment I've heard. They want to be the main character. And kind of what you said, yeah, to kind of add on to that, when you look at the Premier League, you know, we live in a day and age where Bournemouth and AC Milan going toe-to-toe for players. It's well documented, you know, the money that's in the game of all different fractions and levels. I don't think when you look at these money men and these individuals that love that love money and leverage our love of this game to make money, whether TV rights, etc. As you said, we've got the best players, best managers, best this, best that, or at least top level in it, really. I don't think it's a mere coincidence about the referees. I think they want that to be something. I think, you know, they want it to be a talking point. They want me and you waffling on YouTube. They want the Sky Sports, etc., etc. I don't believe in coincidences on the best of days, especially where there's so much money and eyes on our game and in the games in general. Not that, as you said, not that the other leagues are perfect and things, but there's a direct contrast, you know, even down to how VAR, sometimes lines are coming out, sometimes they're not. You know, 1 minute someone's shoelace is offside, the next time it's not. It's just mad inconsistent and just a bag of nonsense, if I'm honest with you. I can't lie, before we started this, I asked for a couple of topics from my viewers and things. They, you know, so let's just go through them to kind of round this up, yeah. Mesut Ozil announced his retirement. Where's your feelings on that? What did you feel about that and all of those things? I mean, it's more or less like he's been retired forever, but
yeah,
I feel sad, man.
Yeah, it is sad because, we saw his entire Arsenal career. And listen, 2012, the day he signed, it was an amazing day.
Crazy.
And so
Crazy.
when I think about Ozil, some of the memories are so happy, but, it wasn't that fairy tale ending we needed. But like, this guy's record's crazy. I mean, I think he had the second most assists from 2008-9 to 17-18, only behind Messi by like 10. And bear in mind,
he almost got the record, bro. He almost got the
and bear in
record
mind, a lot of that was with Giroud as our striker. With all due respect to Giroud, I mean, he wasn't clinical, was he? You put
looked at with rose tints, quality player, but they look at Giroud with rose tints across the season.
And that's the thing, man. For him to do that is a crazy number and a crazy achievement for him. He was a king of creating chances. And I think just in terms of just watching him play live at the Emirates, lucky enough to go and watch him. I mean, some of the technical ability, I've not seen that. And I don't think I will see that for a long time because he was just a different level. He made football...
Creative genius, man.
He made it look easy, innit? It was just like a walk in the park for him. It's like he's playing with a mandem. And I'm like...
Right.
And he's doing it in the Premier League. And I think in 15-16, he deserved to win the Player of the Year and win the title. It wasn't meant to be. But, look, he gave me some of the best memories in terms of on the field. He helped break our trophy drought as well. And I don't think everyone will consider him a club legend because he didn't win a title. But as a cult hero, he certainly deserves that status.
And in terms of creative players, I think there's very few players that could talk to him. Unless you're Dennis Bergkamp, Santi Cazorla, Cesc Fabregas off the top of my head, maybe a couple of others. I think there's very few footballers that have played for this club that in terms of the single facet of creativity can talk to him. Next one from Patrick. He said, Partey came on at right back last game. Do you think that's the alternative that he'll use to cope with Tomiyasu's absence?
I don't think he'll be the go-to alternative, but I think it'll be an emergency option. I think Mikel Arteta's preparing himself for the worst case
already, my guy.
Yeah, well, right now we've got Ben White available, so you've got the right back available. You got Holding can play centre back. I don't think Arsenal need to keep the dynamics as similar as possible. I don't want to see this. Like last season, for example, you had Xhaka playing left back. I don't want to see any of that. Let's keep the best players in their best areas as much as possible. If we're going to take a hit, take it in the area where it has to take it. Let's not try to disrupt other areas and ruin those to make something else work. Let's keep it simple. But I think the reason why he played Partey there, I mean, he's done it before. He did it against Arsenal in the Europa League 17-18. So he's got experience of doing it. But I don't think he'll be the go-to alternative. I think he'll be like a emergency option. If Ben White gets injured or someone has to move, he'll play him there and play Jorginho midfield. So I don't think he has any long-term to it.
I mean, two people have asked, can you ask BHAVS what his ideal summer targets would be? This is where it gets interesting.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? Because there's so many options. I think one player that I really do think Arsenal are going to sign, that's just in terms of all the reports and the confidence they have around it, is Declan Rice. I think it's going to happen. And I'm just saying it because, everything just... It's like Jesus last season. You kind of knew he was going to sign for Arsenal. Yeah, and that's how I feel with Declan Rice. I think it's something that you can just see Arsenal can afford it. West Ham want to sell the player or need to sell the player. The player wants to come to Arsenal. We're going to have Champions League football, about time for that. And,
you
I
can
think
say that again, mate.
Yeah, it's about time. It's kind of weird, isn't it? It's a bit anticlimactic compared to last year. It was all about Champions League. And now we just got 2-3 wins away and it's done. It's it is what it is, but I think Declan Rice will be the main target, and I think Arsenal will sign him, hopefully at least, unless Todd Bowley decides to lose all composure again. And I think a right wing profile, maybe a Moussa Diaby. I think he's the one to be linked to Arsenal so far. I think we do need a right winger. I've seen a lot of fans that want to see Arsenal sign Matoma. He's a great player, but I don't think we need a left winger after signing Trossard. We've got two there, Martinelli and Trossard now. So a right winger
with respect to Nelson.
Yeah.
Really.
Declan Rice, exactly, Ralston as well. So Declan Rice, Moussa Diaby, and a right back. So it'll be probably for Schneider. And I think Arsenal will actually try some two midfielders. One number 8 profile. McAllister is the one I want so much, but I know Man City also have interest. Yeah, I think Man City also have interest, and if they don't get Jude, then maybe we can find a way.
Last question, in fact, second from last question. Can you see Arteta going to a back three to potentially protect Rob Holding at Liverpool away?
We already kind of play a back three. I think, fans kind of forget this at times. When you watch Arsenal build out, we're playing a back three. Ben White is dropping into that back three, and when Arsenal need to go ultra attacking, we move into a 2 in the back and then 3 in the midfield.
Gamble a bit more, yeah.
Exactly. So we really kind of do it as it is. So, I don't think we had to do it to accommodate Holding. I think he's doing it regardless. And, it's worked for Arsenal all season in terms of building out at the back. My only concern with Holding is, can he keep his head? So as he learned from last year, and also playing out of the back. Is he vulnerable? If you're Liverpool or whoever, because every team nowadays, they know how to press. They've got the players, they've got the work rate. If you go at Holding, is he going to give the ball away? Because Saliba, that's one thing Saliba has.
So many times you can do that.
Exactly. One thing Saliba has is he's always so confident. He's so calm and composed.
composed,
Does Holding
almost.
have that similar level of Sometimes does Holding have that similar level of composure? That's my question, and hopefully he can answer it.
I agree with you, man. You know what? I'm going to give faith to everyone because I think some players have come in and showed why they're good in the squad. Clearly, Holding is limited. Clearly, makes us a bit nervous at Anfield, especially somewhere like Anfield away. And it's going to be a different game, I feel, than the one at the Emirates. But considering we've been a lot better than Liverpool, there's never been a better time for Rob Holding to try and put in a positive performance at Anfield. But that's a few weeks away. Respectfully to Holding, hopefully Saliba is back. Last question, Balogun. They've just said Balogun. I assume that's your thoughts in relation to Balogun, what you would do with the guy, just everything you got with Balogun, really.
I really think he's a crazy talent. To go in your first top European fight, 17 goals in his first year, more than Messi, slightly less than Mbappe. The fact that he's done that is a crazy achievement, and the fact that he's still 21, and we've got two of the other best young players in Martinelli and Saka. I mean, it's a crazy thought. And this is what I say about Balogun, right? Is imagine he was a new signing. Imagine we're signing this guy. How much did he cost, and how much would fans be more excited?
Literally, you're looking at 35, 50 odd million. And what I would say to Balogun is just keep doing what you're doing. I'd be keen to see what their plans are for him next season. I think we shouldn't draw any conclusions. I think every option should be open. Him making it here, him going out on loan again. I don't agree with it, but potentially being sold if an offer is thingied. What do you make of, last question actually, what do you make of the Eddie versus Balogun debate? Because I think people are a bit too harsh. I do think in Balogun's defense, Eddie's in defense, Balogun is the shiny new toy. I think if you swap them around and Balogun was here and kind of doing what Eddie's doing, it wouldn't be discredited. And likewise, if Eddie Nketiah was back in France, might be looking at it a bit different. And I just feel people are so quick to judge these young strikers or young players that inevitably going to go through better and worse bits of form, really, because now he's set down a marker, Balogun, right? Like 17 goals. Everybody knows you're good now. Can you do it again next season? If he does do it next season, and I hope he does, it'll be great. But if he doesn't, I'll be like, well, you're in your early 20s. It is what it is, especially if you move to the Prem. Palace might as well take him on loan if he doesn't stay at Arsenal. What do you make of that debate?
I mean, the thing with Balogun is he's shown now like goal scoring ability that Eddie hasn't quite shown for Arsenal or ever in terms of in a loan spells. I mean, I think Eddie's highest goal scoring tally has been 10. And that's not being in the league. For Balogun to score 17, I think that's more than even Jesus has ever managed in a league campaign. So, I mean, what he's proving himself is that he's a proven goal scorer. But I would say, Liga, Lacazette's, I think, also got 17 goals as well.
Lacazette is looking quick again,
Yeah, so we got to just be a bit careful. It's the Uber Eats League, let's let that happen. So, I think in terms of Balogun and Nketiah, I think they can work in the same squad, but I realise that they've both got egos, right? It's how football works. And one will want to play over Jesus as well, by the way. And I think Balogun, we'll see how willing he is next season to sit on the Arsenal bench and to, earn his place. But, that being said, you look at Saliba in the summer, fans thought he might have to earn his place, and he was in the first game pre-season. So, I don't think Balogun's as complete as Saliba yet, and we've got Jesus as well. But he's different to what Arsenal have. He's more of that goal-scoring profile. But a player that wants to start week in, week out, and that's where I think maybe he might want to push for a move away, loan move, permanent move, to start games week in, week out.
I'm with you with that. I think, obviously Arteta doesn't necessarily have to be watching him. Him and the loan manager will probably be liaising where he's at, run the rule over him early in pre-season and say, listen, I think you're ready, but you probably are at this moment behind Jesus, behind Eddie, maybe even indirectly behind Trossard and Martinelli with their relationship, but you can work hard, things can change. With it being in the Champions League, that would mean, in my opinion, in theory, less rotation. That could also G up Balogun. But as you kind of alluded to, for a young player, nothing can replicate, being on the bench and all of that is one thing and it's great, but playing week in, week out in Liga where there's a lot for you to learn, doing what you're doing in the top 5 leagues, scoring a massive percentage of the goals you've scored. I think I don't think you can really go back to sitting on the bench. So we'll have to succeed, man. We'll have to see if he can succeed. But if not, I just hope we can make a certain profit on the lad. Last question. Are we winning the league before I let you get out of here?
Yes. Yes. Do you know how many times I've been asked that question across London? Just walking around, it's like all these tube guys asking me that. They obviously support my content. I appreciate that. Oh, we're in the league. I'm like, I don't know, man. I'm not on the pitch. I'm hoping it. Thing is, you say yes, and they're gonna clip you. You say no, and they're gonna say you don't have confidence. So listen, I prefer to die trying. So I'm gonna say yes.
With me, I just, if we were in a league title challenge, bro, I hope we work really hard and just keep doing it. It's an opportunity of a lifetime. But as I keep saying,
give us a PR answer, innit?
Yeah, man, I learned from Arsene Wenger and Mikel Arteta, my guy, man. We just got to keep working hard,
game
man.
by game.
lit game by game, 10 cup finals, and see where it takes us, man. What I would say is if Arsenal do have this opportunity, if they were 8 points clear, see it through, man, because there's no guarantees in life. There's no guarantee we'll be here again, in it, which I hope we are. I think Arteta's developing something good. But as a result of us learning from last season, having a great preseason and all of the good things, we've been able to take advantage of what other teams aren't doing. So it'd be a bit of pill to swallow if we bottled an 8 points lead, but I do think both teams are going to drop more points. I do think there's many twists and turns. Not that I support Liverpool by any stretch of the imagination, but hopefully Liverpool beat them in the last Prem game. What content you got to come out today or this week or in general, my guy?
Sorry, bro, one sec. The audio's a bit thinged.
Yeah, no.
In terms of content, I've got, the Arsenal news coming out. I think as per, the international break's a bit hard to make content with, but there's always some Arsenal rumors popping about. So I'll talk about it on my video probably tomorrow on Saturday. And obviously when Arsenal back, and it's the 5 things you learned.
Like he said there, people, I can't imagine you're not aware of BHAVS content, but if you're not, subscribe. Again, his information by the time this comes out is in the description and better yet in the title. So it's real super easy. Follow him on all his socials. Smash the like button, people, and you lot stay blessed, stay safe. It's been a fantastic 26 minutes with you, BHAVS. One love, my guy. Appreciate you for tuning in. We're out, folks. Smash the like button, comment, subscribe, check out the rest of the content, all that good stuff.
There's always just that active red flag defending. I think it's like